And good evening, everyone. I'm Les Murray. Welcome to the program. November 16, 2005 will forever have a special place in Australia's rich sporting history, following the wave of emotion that has gripped the nation since John Aloisi slotted in that final penalty to clinch World Cup qualification. Today, rightfully, it's been acclaimed as a victory that will have enormous social, economic and political benefits. More on that later. But we begin our coverage with the sheer joy of the Socceroos after completing their Destiny 2006 mission.
No rest for Australia's acclaimed Warriors. Some players had barely slept after a wild night of celebrations. Many flew out today to rejoin their European clubs. And for a couple hours in between, the Socceroos were trapped by several thousand fans who came out to the Domain in Sydney for a glimpse of their heroes. They cried out for Schwarzer, Kuhl and Ozzy Huss, the man who's made all the difference since taking charge only 4 months ago. Like Johnny Warren said, to qualify alone is not enough. Australia must try to win the World Cup.
All the way is very far, but we are now in a good mood, so let's say today, let's go all the way.
I'm just enjoying it now. You know, it's back to playing the football that I love playing. I'm actually going out there and enjoying it. I wanted the ball. I wanted to go out there. I wanted to do what I could do.
To be honest, I always felt confident that we could go there and do the job, in which the 82,000 fans behind us, we never look like losing, to be honest.
Since Gus has come, he's organised us very, very well, and everybody knows their job on the pitch, and even the guys who are on the bench and not involved. Everybody just feels like part of the team, you know.
The chance to be part of history pushed goal-scoring hero Marco Bresciano to the extreme. He required 3 pain-killing ankle injections, one before the warm-up, another before kick-off, and again at half-time.
It was just something that we've all been waiting for a long time, and being part of it was just something spectacular.
Australian football received its own giant painkiller after more than 3 decades of failed World Cup campaigns.
As you can see, today is about the fans, the players, the coaching staff, everyone behind this World Cup qualification campaign. But it's also an incredible financial effort put into this campaign from the Football Federation of Australia. They took some incredible risks, including the very late appointment of Dutchman Huss Hiddink, who of course has now taken Australia to its dream, the World Cup finals in 2006.
We were not going to face Australia and tell us, well, why didn't you change the coach? He has been there for 6 or 8 years, he hasn't achieved it. What the hell are you doing here? But we were not going to do that. We were going to appoint somebody that was worthy. And we waited till the last minute. We could have done it earlier, but really the decision was quite clear to us after the Federation Cup.
Hiddink's contract will take him to the 2006 World Cup, but neither he nor the FFA would commit just yet to any deal beyond the tournament. The 6-month build-up includes Asian Cup qualifiers and several international friendlies against the likes of Croatia, Holland and maybe Greece, plus a ticker tape parade in Sydney at the end of February.
The tentative date's the 27th of February, in which everybody in Sydney can say again, well done. What was, last night was one of the great moments of Australian sport and Australian sporting history.
Wednesday night fever took hold in the change rooms at Telstra Stadium as the Socceroos kicked off the post-match party with film star John Travolta. Back at the team hotel, more of the same as the players started to come to terms with the magnitude of their achievement. Not only in getting to the World Cup against a very tough South American opponent in the most dramatic of circumstances, but what they've done to help boost the sport in this country could well become the greatest legacy of all. Andrew Orsatti, SBS Sport.
Well, before the game, Uruguay coach Jorge Fossati claimed that Australia didn't have one special player who could stop his team from reaching the World Cup. Obviously, Senor Fossati had never heard of Harry Kuhl. Football analyst Craig Foster caught up with the Socceroos striker for an exclusive chat just before he flew out of the country.
It's been a massive 6 months for you. First Australian to win the Champions League, and now you've qualified for the World Cup. Tell us about it.
It's fantastic. People say, you can't get higher than the Champions League in club football. It's European best, all the great teams playing that, and it was fantastic to play in it or to be part of it, even though it turned out to be a bit of a nightmare for me, how I come off and injured and all that. But you know, it was still great to be a part of it. But last night was something special, and you know, it was the highlight of my career so far, without a shadow.
Yeah, the last couple of years have been an awful time injury-wise for you, and at times it must have really tested your mental resolve, I guess. How hard's it been, and you know, what's last night done for your psychology?
A lot, especially when I stood up and took the first penalty. A lot of people asked me would I take it, and I said yeah, you know, I was quietly confident in taking in that, but I knew what I had to do, not only for the team but for a personal goal for me, for what I've been through for the last 12 months, to step up there and slot it in. It was a big thing just for myself.
And so just turning to last night, it's a memorable night. It was something of a surprise to Australian fans. You're such a big game player. Every time you come into the big games for Australia, you produce something special. To see you start on the bench, was it a surprise to you? You know, you say that you were happy with that, but you must have expected to start as well.
Of course, every player expects to start, you know, and when you don't start, you do get disappointed. But again, you can't get disappointed because the manager's got a plan, an idea how he wants to play the game, and tactically that was how he wanted to play it. So as part of the team, you know, there's no I in team, you know, you've just got to go out there and play for the team, and so you accept what he does and you play for the team, and that's how we wanted to play it, and you just got to go ahead and do it.
So much talk about team spirit within this. You've been involved in the last couple of campaigns as well. This is obviously something special, but just tell us about inside the team, what it means to that bunch of guys. You know, I saw you just before the extra time last night, you went into a huddle, and it's never looked a tighter unit.
I mean, you've been there before as well with me, and then the team spirit just of Australia, it's fantastic. I don't think you get a better one in any other country. No. So the experience there with the older players and the younger people that wanted to be there was phenomenal. And as you say, I mean, coming into extra time, for the opposition to see a team all up, ready before the ref even ready, and all together wanting to go back out there, it's a kick in the teeth, you know, because they were looking tired, and we knew that, but we knew what we could do, we knew what we're capable of, and we knew it was our time.
Well, thanks for your time, Harry. We very much appreciate it, and congratulations. And from football fans and former players, we congratulate you and thank you for your performance last night for Australia. Well done.
No worries, man.
Harry Kewell with Craig Foster. The crowd of 82,698 inside Telstra Stadium held its breath throughout the agonising 4-2 penalty shootout. It could not have been better scripted by a Hollywood producer, as goalkeeper Mark Schwarzer produced two magnificent saves before John Aloisi stepped forward to deliver the coup de grace. Let's take a look at how the drama unfolded.
Australia is back on the biggest stage.
So many years and so many tears. This was the night some believed would never happen, as the Socceroos finally reversed the curse that has dogged it since 1974. Telstra Stadium was awash in a sea of gold, trying to act as the extra man in a match where every advantage would count. Uruguay started with a goal advantage and settled the quicker of the two teams, forcing a series of free kicks from which the delivery of Alvaro Recoba was always dangerous. After a nervy 20 minutes, Australia finally hit its straps, with Jason Kalina getting in the first real shot in anger. But moments later, Recoba burst through, one-on-one with Mark Schwarzer. Unbelievably for such a talent, he shot wide. Perhaps that was the moment the Socceroos truly believed the gods were on their side. On 36 minutes, the South Americans' lead was wiped out. Harry Kewell on for Tony Popovic, and a masterful tactical switch by Guus Hiddink helped the ball on for Marco Bresciano to lash the ball home.
Here's Harry Kewell, it's hit, and it's in! Australia have scored! Marco Bresciano!
From then on in, Uruguay was limited to attacks on the counter. Bresciano went close to a second in the second half, and after a tiring Recoba had been withdrawn, Cahill just couldn't make enough contact with this header from Kewell's cross. Uruguay was further depleted by the loss of skipper Paulo Montero through injury, and no further goals were found by either team in extra time, so it was to penalties to decide the fate of the coveted finals place. Harry Kewell set the Socceroos on its way, and then Mark Schwarzer, hero of a previous penalty shootout against Canada 12 years earlier, took centre stage, producing a brilliant stop off Dario Rodriguez, the goal hero of Montevideo at the weekend.
Massive save.
Lucas Neal doubled Australia's lead, but Gustavo Varela ensured the celebrations wouldn't be too premature by making it 2-1. Tony Vidmar, a veteran of many a campaign, had no nerves from the spot either, 3-1 Australia. But Fabian Stoyanov pulled Uruguay back in it at 3-2. And when skipper Mark Viduka pulled his effort wide, old nerves started to jangle among the Australian contingent. In the event, they needn't have worried. Schwarzer pulled off another spellbinding stop from Marcelo Zalageta, leaving John Aloisi to seal a place in history and the finals for the Socceroos. That was the signal for a huge party to erupt. The players fated as heroes after ending 31 years of hurt. Hiddink a legend after succeeding where so many coaches had failed. Now with Frank Lowy and John O'Neill's magical trifecta of A-League, a move to Asia and World Cup qualification all achieved, it seems the sky's the limit for the World Game in Australia. Simon Hill, SBS Sport.
And you'll be able to relive all the excitement and drama of a brilliant night of sporting theatre right here on SBS tomorrow when we bring you a full replay of the Socceroos' magnificent victory over Uruguay. That's at 7:30 tomorrow night, immediately after Toyota World Sport. Make sure you don't miss it. So fantasy became reality. Australia will take its place at the World Cup finals for just the second time at the expense of a two-time champion, Uruguay, and we dare to dream of what lies ahead. The ripple effect of last night's victory will resonate long after Germany 2006, with football now on a firm footing and the FFA seeking to build on the fervour created by a fairy tale.
It was a coming of age for football in Australia, and it also marked a watershed in the code's acceptance into the wider sporting community.
We've got a participation level that's the envy of other sports. 1.2 million participants playing the game. We've got an A-League now that looks the goods, and now we've got a national team that's performing at the highest level. We are a very serious player now in mainstream sport.
Thousands of fans gathered in Sydney to pay tribute to the victorious Socceroos today. The result historic on more than one level. The first time for 32 years Australia has reached the finals, and the last time we'll qualify out of Oceania. Our entry into Asia in January has been given a massive boost.
It will give us a fantastic entry card. You know, we go there with credibility on the field, which after all, you know, John and I can turn into hoops, turn upside down, inside out. If we can't perform on the field, this is all for nothing. So now we have performed on the field, and we'll go with an entree card with credit to ourselves, and they'll be proud to have us.
In one of the toughest markets in the world, with 4 footballing codes, the Socceroos united many fans across the sporting divides. From long-suffering football fans to supporters of Union League and Australian rules, who also wanted to see Australia qualify for arguably the greatest sporting show on earth.
The message is simple, but the ramifications of the Socceroos' success last night will be felt not just by the sport itself, but by all the other 3 codes in this country.
There are 4 codes. The Aussies are crazy about sport, and they're crazy about football, and they will watch whichever they think best at the time. And that's what we want to achieve. We can't push out anybody, and we won't be pushed out.
Despite Australia's future lying in Asia with all the marketing and revenue streams yet to be tapped, John O'Neill wants FIFA to end the chaotic scheduling of intercontinental playoffs, which creates headaches for all the participants.
This intercontinental playoffs are madness. I mean, you know, from Montevideo to Sydney, you know, and with the international dateline, and the match is only 4 days apart. We'd be much better to play in the same time zone, play it longitudinally.
Judging by the viewing figures, with over 4.5 million people in addition to those watching at live sites around the country, the task for football in this country now is to ride the wave of success to Germany and beyond.
I mean, last night was great for all those people who put in a lot of hard work over the years from the grassroots up. It's brought them together. It's going to be great for the grassroots of the game. It's going to be great for the A-League. It'll take its projection right up to new, stratospheric heights. And of course, it's great for the Socceroos and the country.
And a good showing at the World Cup finals in June would help foster the roots that were planted strongly in the psyche for all those that witnessed football's finest hour in Sydney last night.
He's a lucky charm, this boy. He was at Kathy Freeman's 400, so was I.
Yeah.
And he was at Steve Waugh's 100 at the SCG. And last night was just unreal. Unbelievable.
Far outweighs anything that's ever been in sport that I've ever seen. Amazing.
John Baldock, SBS Sport.
And joining me once again is former Socceroo and SBS resident football analyst Craig Foster. Craig, thanks for coming in. The smile is still on your face, I see. Many millions of words have been written about this performance and a lot of superlatives, some of which impressed you, I know.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think Frank Lowy spoke extremely well today, but to me the best messages have come out of the players. In the end, the game goes on and it's a glorious future now, and what happened last night, I think a lot of us fans and ex-players alike, it's difficult to even talk about it without getting a bit misty-eyed. Every time we watch that Aloisi goal for years to come, we certainly will gloss over a bit, but when it comes, I saw a quote today from Vinnie Grella, who said, you know what, every time in future that I put on the green and gold, I remember this moment and I will make sure that I give everything for it for the pride of the shirt. And that to me is what was increased last night. The Socceroo shirt last night came to symbolise all that's great about Australia and about Australians particularly. I've heard it called a lot today one of Australia's greatest sporting moments. No, actually it was one of Australia's greatest moments, and that to me is the importance of the moment.
It was indeed an amazing performance by the players. One who stood out was Marco Bresciano, revealing today that he had those pain injections, which or anti-pain injections, which we were unaware of at the time.
Yeah, that's right. Look, we knew, a few of us knew before the game, but we didn't think it was right to carry on about it during the game, whether it was going to affect his performance or not. But it's a marvellous effort, and I think in a lot of ways it just symbolises what those guys gave for the country, for the shirt, and also for themselves last night. Bresciano was not alone. The other guys coming in carrying injuries, the guys like Popovic in the first leg, Tony Vidmar, Lucas Neal, guys who haven't had a lot of football. Harry Kewell is foremost among them as well. A guy who's had an awful 2 years injury-wise, and at times with his confidence and form, and he's come out in the biggest game of his life by far, and he's produced something very special. They all have. And to get through, Les was always going to take that.
Now, just on Mark Schwarzer, we debated some weeks ago, I know, whether it should be Mark or Zelko. Let's admit now that Mark has done a fabulous job, and in fact may have been the turning point or the deciding man yesterday.
Oh, look, over 2 legs, the guy was brilliant, and his penalty saves yesterday was something to behold that we'll never forget. That's the second time he's done it. He did it against Canada when he was only a young man. He has enormous strength of character. He's truly a national hero. Every man that took that pitch is, indeed, all of them in the squad. But it took 13 or 14 heroes last night to do it. And look, the boys go and run for 120 minutes. Those guys truly gave sweat and blood for the country last night and for the shirt and for the history of the game and to build on the future. And Schwarzer was there when he needed to be, and congratulations to him as a champion.
Well done. All right, well done yesterday too, Fozzie, on the telecast. Fantastic job. Hard work. Yeah, but we survived it. Thanks, Fozzie. Thanks. See you soon. And so to tonight's Toyota World Sport Poll, and following that victory last night, we want to know, after coaching South Korea to the World Cup semi-finals in 2002, can Guus Hiddink repeat that success and take Australia to the last 4 in 2006? Simply text yes or no to 1999 88 97, and we'll bring you the result on tomorrow night's programme. On Tuesday night, we asked, if the game goes to a penalty shootout, do the Socceroos have enough experience and firepower to win through to the World Cup? A huge majority of 76% of fans voted yes, and wasn't that confidence well and truly rewarded last night, thanks to everyone who took part. While most people are attributing the Socceroos' success to coach Guus Hiddink, there's one man in Melbourne who believes that in fact he and not the Dutch maestro, is responsible for Australia's victory. John Safran last year went to Mozambique to undergo a special and somewhat grueling ceremony to lift the much-rumoured World Cup curse that had been placed on the Socceroos by a local witch doctor when they played Rhodesia in 1969. He was told of the curse by the late Socceroo legend Johnny Warren, and now John Safran is happy to accept the thanks of millions of Australian fans for his special part in last night's victory.
I did suffer. And when I get involved, when I get my spooky witchcraft, magic, Harry Potter powers involved, no one's got a divine right besides who I say he's got a divine right. And last night it was the Socceroos.
Good on you, John. Thank you. Well, Australia was just one of 5 countries that booked its place at next year's World Cup overnight, with ecstasy and heartbreak evident in equal measure across Europe and the Middle East. As expected, Spain coasted through its second leg, following a 1-1 draw in Slovakia. Switzerland eliminated Turkey in controversial manner in Istanbul. The Czech Republic edged past Norway, while Trinidad and Tobago clinched its first ever place with victory over Bahrain. Sydney FC star Dwight Yorke played a major part as the tiny Caribbean nation became the smallest country to compete at next year's finals. So the 32 countries that will take their place at the 2006 World Cup are all decided. Australia will join 4 teams from Asia in Germany, plus 4 South American nations, including reigning world champion Brazil. The CONCACAF region provides 4 finalists, including tiny Trinidad and Tobago, and 5 African countries will be present, including 4 debutants: Angola, Ghana, Ivory Coast and Togo. Europe provides the biggest contingent in the finals with 14 teams, including the host nation, which qualified as of right, plus 3 other former champions in England, France and Italy. And of course, there's only one place you'll be able to see live and exclusive coverage of the 2006 World Cup, right here on SBS, your football network. We'll have all 64 matches in full, and the fun begins on June 9 next year. And make sure you join us to find out who the Socceroos will face in their first World Cup for 32 years when we bring you the draw for next year's tournament in just over 3 weeks' time. We'll have live coverage of the big event from Leipzig at 6:15 a.m. Eastern Summer Time on Saturday, December 10. Check your local guides for more details. And that's Toyota World Sport for Thursday, November 17, 2005, the day after the Socceroos completed a magic carpet ride of emotions and qualified for the 2006 World Cup. I'm Les Murray for the team. Good night.